Hello, y'all. Welcome to Bamm Raw TV. I'm Bamm, aka the 411 Giant. We still celebrating Halloween, and we telling stories of some monsters. And this story here is a story that I heard about, and I went and looked it up about some monsters in Florida. They're in Columbia, Florida prison.
And tonight, our I-Team is finding some serious allegations and a new lawsuit filed against the Department of Corrections. Death in Florida prisons. Vulnerable inmates put in cells with violent prisoners. Officers doing so for sadistic and malicious purposes.
The state labeling the deaths natural, but one victim's family calls it a killing after a man was put in a cell with another prisoner who had a history of violence.
Lawyers we spoke with say it's part of a larger problem, a lack of transparency about how and why otherwise healthy inmates are dying before their release dates and who is responsible.
Our I-Team first brought you the Crisis in Corrections series last year and looking into investigations open for years along with violent and untimely deaths said to be, quote, natural.
I need somebody to be accountable for their actions for my son's death.
Far too many deaths are occurring inside of our facilities, so something's wrong, something seriously wrong.
I will not lay down until I get answers. And they couldn't tell me anything other than the fact that it happens all the time.
Katrina believes her son was killed by the other inmate in his cell, but the medical examiner determined Williams died of natural causes. As part of a lawsuit filed against the Department of Corrections, Slater says the officers,
they knew that Mr. Polk was a predator, that he had problems, and they knew that he wasn't supposed to go into Mr. Williams' cell. These officers put Mr. Polk in Dennis Williams' cell really just for the purpose of punishing him, just for their own sick pleasure.
In February, the I-Team reported on another inmate pronounced dead from an apparent inmate-on-inmate assault at Hamilton Correctional, the same prison where 2 correctional officers were fired a week prior after we revealed video of an inmate being slapped.
The 18th, 2022, and we're here in reference to look at justice for Lydia. I want to take everybody on this journey with me because this is not the end. This is the beginning. We're trying to get the ball rolling, and I'm going to take you on this journey with me.
Hello, y'all. Welcome to Bamm Raw TV. I'm Bamm, aka the 411 Giant. We still celebrating Halloween, and we telling stories of some monsters. And this story here is a story that I heard about, and I went and looked it up about some monsters in Florida. They're in Columbia, Florida prison. In Columbia, Florida prison, these monsters was responsible for the death of a man. And this man, he was not only killed, he was mutilated. He was killed, mutilated, and in the point of mutilating him and killing him, the man was seen by the guard biting on his genitals, biting on this man's private area, then licking the floor. They said it had been a previous confrontation because the cellie who had been killed had asked the man to stop masturbating so much in the cell while he was in there with him.
Tonight, I-Team investigative reporter Kylie McGivern has the update.
And we do want to warn you, the descriptions you're about to hear may be disturbing.
pictures on a mantle mark the memories Katrina Humphrey Williams has left.
When the chaplain called me, I knew right away what it was. And when he said, "I'm sorry to tell you," I dropped the phone. I dropped to my knees and I screamed as loud as I could, "Lord, no, not my child, not my son."
Her son, Dennis Williams, who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, was serving a 15-year sentence at Columbia Correctional Institution for drug charges and attempted murder in a burglary-turned-shooting. He was found dead in a cell, but he was not alone. Photos taken during the death investigation show another inmate, Jaquan Polk, who was sharing a cell with Williams at the time of his death. Polk was serving a 5-year sentence for armed burglary and grand theft of a firearm, and according to a lawsuit filed by Williams' family, Polk was not allowed to be celled with other inmates.
For my son to have passed away, somebody dropped the ball.
Katrina says she knows this because she used to do this. She was a corrections officer.
It hurt me so bad because I worked almost 12 years of my life. I dedicated to the Department of Corrections and took pride in my job. My husband and I went to Columbia CI to get answers. I will not lay down until I get answers. And they couldn't tell me anything other than the fact that it happens all the time.
Katrina believes her son was killed by the other inmate in his cell, but the medical examiner determined Williams died of natural causes. We dug into FDLE's investigative report, which says the first officer on scene said Williams was lying unresponsive on the floor. Inmate Polk was licking the floor. He then saw Polk biting on Williams' genitals. The medical examiner's report documented abrasions, contusions, and lacerations, and multiple bite marks on Williams' body. According to the lawsuit, when Polk was eventually taken out of the cell, he yelled, "I killed him. Who's next?" But the medical examiner determined Williams died due to a ruptured dissecting aorta.
Now this is the story of Jamontrae D. Simmons, who was killed. Jamontrae D. Simmons was killed by Polk, inmate named Polk. Now, Jamontrae had 15 years for burglary, a little drugs. He was sent to jail. Now, Polk was only doing 5 years. Now, Polk was doing 5 years, but he had a mental disorder. And he was very aggressive, had assaulted many cellies, several cellies. And in fact, before putting Jamontrae Simmons in the cell with him, 2 other inmates they tried to put in the cell with him refused to cuff up and let them put him in such a dangerous situation. Jamontrae just coming in. He thinking the guards is going to do the right thing by him. And they put him in the cell with Polk. When they put him in the cell with Polk, he asked respectfully as a man, "Hey man, quit masturbating so much in the cell while I'm here, man. Let me get out your way. Let me get away from here." More than likely, that's the way the conversation went. Because men let men do men things. Just don't do it in front of me. Just let me get out the way. Respect me. And so the end result was that he killed him and he mutilated his body. And he did some things so horrible that, you really don't want to mention it, but the story has to be told. Thank God his family is filing on him. But this man sit here, a man with 5 years to do, has such a warped mental state that he's been assaulting cellies and doing crazy things. And now you put somebody in there with 15 years. Now the question that I'm always dealing with situations like that, when people tell me about the monsters, is the monster the man who decapitated another man, the man who mutilated his body, the man who has no control over his senses, or is the monster the people who, knowing this man's condition, take and force or put a man unwillingly in this dangerous situation when their job is to protect this man. By right, his family is suing, and I wish them the best. But this man was mutilated. This man gentle to the bit. They say in some cases, they say the man's eyeball had been taken out. You know what I'm saying? So this, my question still is the monster, the guy who did the mutilation, being a mental patient, not being being fully aware of probably what he was doing. Also, the police had prior knowledge that this man was very assaulted. The fact that people were refusing to go in the cell with him was reason to think twice about putting anybody in there knowing that they were being harmed. So again, this man was mutilated. Jamontrae D. Simmons was mutilated, only had 15 years. Only had 15 years. He had an out date. The man who killed him only had 5 years. Should have been in a mental institution. Maybe he could have received some help and had an out date. Is he the monster? Or is the people who knowingly forced Jamontrae D. Simmons into that situation? Look it up. I got a few clippings. This is the question. Who is the monster in that situation? I can't say. It's just a little quick something to celebrate our Halloween. And I want you to keep your children safe on Halloween. I want y'all to make sure that they have an enjoyable Halloween. And you yourself had an enjoyable Halloween. Let's have fun. That's the whole thing about it. Live long and prosper and have fun. I love y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon so you can see the next thing we're coming out with. Happy Halloween and have a joyful Halloween.